Good morning. Good morning. It's a Monday. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I don't know what happened. It did this last week. Yeah, I know. So it did this last week or the week before, which makes me nervous now because it might have been the week that we got cut off, where, I sit down, it's 7:24, and I go live, and it just spins and it just says going live, going live, going live. And I go and I get my book and I light the candle and I come back and it still says going live, going live. So then I totally shut down and started over. And hi, Marcia. And so then it works. So, and it does seem like there's this, hi, Sarah. I know, technology, it's just graying my hair, which I don't need more of. Anyway, so I know a couple of weeks ago, we were in the middle of metta meditation and we got cut off. It just shuts down. Like I'm doing meditation and then when I look up, everybody's gone. So I don't know. I have no idea what happens. I guess we just write it off to technology. So thanks for being here. Oh, it said waiting. Okay. Yeah, it just was spinning. Good morning. I know it is great when it works. It's so great. Namaste. Yeah, we're on now. Thanks, T. Thanks. Happy Monday. Okay, let's get started and maybe some other people will pop on. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Oh, golly. All right. Good morning, Tara. Let me get all my things. A very sweet poem this morning that I was going to read at some point recently and didn't. So I thought, oh, that's fun. I saved it. Hi, Ronnie. Oh, thanks, Marcia. Yeah, thank you for being here. Would not be any fun to be here by myself. I mean, it would be, not that I'm not fun by myself, but you know what I mean. Okay. Welcome. Take a moment to move around and make yourself comfortable. So, as always, you might choose today to lie down. You might find a different kind of seat. You might feel like, no, I know my familiar, comfortable, cozy place. So, really letting that be a conscious choice, though, recognizing the choice you're making because you do have choices. This practice is about getting more conscious, becoming more aware. And so that's one way that we can do that before we even start our quote unquote formal meditation. So you might move, you might stretch, you might have a yawn. And then let yourself, at some point in the next minute or so, begin to settle and land. And feel into the places you're in contact with the ground. Where is your body in contact with support. What is it like to be supported in that way? Do you find yourself wanting to collapse? Do you feel like you're sort of hovering just above that space, not really landing? Neither of those is bad. We're just noticing. Just noticing the state, the quality of what it's like to live in this body right now. And it might be that you're somewhere in the middle, sort of in this yield, where you are landing, you are in relationship with the ground in a supportive way, and there's a sense of uplift and fullness, alertness, awakeness. And let the skin around the eyes get soft. The eyes can be gently open and kind of hazy gaze, or they can be closed. But either way, the skin around the eyes releases. The lips, the chin, the jaw, the inside of the mouth, soft and quiet. Let the tongue have a little shavasana in the floor of the mouth, and let the back of the throat be open. So rather than taking the tongue all the way to the back of the throat, let the back of the tongue soften forward and down. And there's ease across the tops of the shoulders, down through the arms. Again, place the hands somewhere with purpose. It can be very simple, just palms down or hands in the lap, but notice. Let it be with purposeful intent or choosing. Using only as much effort as necessary to maintain your posture, whatever it is, if you're sitting, even if you're lying down, using only as much effort as needed. Enough to keep you in this relationship of yielding and no more than that. And then we'll very simply turn the attention to the breath. Knowing that when we begin to watch the breath, it will almost certainly change. We're not trying to change it. That's the difference. We're just observing it in its natural state, with its natural qualities, pace, depth, texture, even place in the body. And the gift is that by noticing, it might balance out if it's been overdone or underdone unconsciously. It might come into more of a sustaining and nourishing natural rhythm. The tool or idea or practice today I call thought stopping. And it's actually a practice that I have used in my years of working with insomnia. And it's been one of the most helpful practices in getting out of the pattern of insomnia. And and then I found myself using it in meditation, using it throughout the day. And so you might find that it's not completely applicable today, like in this sitting moment. You might not find yourself in the place where you need thought stopping, but I thought we would work with it just as a tool to have in your pocket. So it's just the idea that when we are in rumination, when we are deep in a spiraling mind, in a big constructed story, whole conversations happen in the head, right? That aren't real. Maybe they're projected, fantasy, like this is what I would say. Maybe it's a replay of something that you would have said differently. Maybe it's some other worry or concern. And thought stopping is simply that. It's simply stopping the thought, just stopping. And that might sound really obvious or overly simple. It is very simple. But I found that to name it, that I could just stop that thought, was kind of revolutionary, because there was a part of my mind that kept telling me that I needed to play out the entire story and get to the end so that I could have completion before I could move on. And of course, that's simply not true. So even as you start to make your grocery list, or a thought comes up about something you need to do today, you can just stop the thought and you can come back to your breath. And that's it. We could say that this is really one of the basic practices of meditation. But again, naming it so that we can own it and apply it as a practice could be really helpful. So we'll spend some time in quiet, and you can play with this idea of thought stopping when thoughts arise, because they will. And we don't have to go all the way through the story. We don't have to find out what happens. We can just stop the thought and come back to the point of focus, which today we're using the breath. you might notice that if you're able to stop a thought, interrupt a thought, and come back to the moment, back to the breath, back to being right where you are, that there is sometimes a corresponding release in the body. Body, mind, one word, not two separate things. So if the mind is somewhere, the body is having a corresponding effect or experience. And that could be tension, that could be holding, that could be bracing, it could be in the breath. And so when we release ourselves from that thought and the mind becomes more free, the attention comes back, present moment, breath, not tangled up, then the body might also have a release. And so you might just notice that, like, oh, I keep getting tense in the shoulders, and then every time I come back, I'm able to let that go. That seems to happen when I interrupt the thought or the story. It might not happen that way for you. That's just a possibility. Of course, the mind is lightning speed, kind of like the internet. And kind of like the internet can have a delay and can spin and seem stuck, and you're not sure if it's going to go to the next page. The mind can get a little stuck too. So we could also get into thought about the thought stopping. Am I doing it right? Is this right? It's not working very well. This is harder than I thought it would be. And so then you can just stop those. You can just stop those thoughts too and come back to the breath. And just as an example of how immediate and responsive and simple this can be, so right now, think of your favorite flower, right? Your favorite flower pops into your mind. You might be trying to decide between a couple flowers. Pick one flower. See your flower. Okay, now think of a dog. And now you've got a dog and the flower is gone. You can see the dog. You can go back to the flower. And then you can let it all go and you can come back to your breath. Back to the breath. Back to the breath. The mind is curious and wily and creative and trainable. We can train our minds to be present more often. We can train ourselves to just interrupt and completely disengage with those ruminating thought patterns, those spirals. We can come back simple like that. This is a poem called From Blossoms by Li Young Lee. From blossoms comes this brown paper bag of peaches we bought from the boy at the bend in the road where we turned toward signs painted peaches. From laden boughs, from hands, from sweet fellowship in the bins, comes nectar at the roadside. Succulent peaches we devour, dusty skin and all, comes the familiar dust of summer, dust we eat. Oh, to take what we love inside, to carry within us an orchard, to eat not only the skin, but the shade, not only the sugar, but the days, to hold the fruit in your hands, adore it, then bite into the round jubilance of peach. There are days we live as if death were nowhere in the background, from joy to joy to joy, from wing to wing, from blossom to impossible blossom, to sweet, impossible blossom. If it feels right, you can bring your hands onto your body, maybe onto your heart or together in front of your heart. And just take a moment here, whatever a sense of closure or transition means to you, how you might connect with that quality before you move on to the rest of your day. May we have more moments of being present, being where we are, so that we can be awake and responsive and responsible in the world. Thank you, friends, so much for being here this morning. Hi, Lisa. You're so welcome. It's actually not the poem I was going to read, but I realized that I had moved my marker, and so that's the one I opened to. It's one of my favorite poems. I don't know that it's what I would have picked for today, but there we were. Let me know how the thought stopping was for you. And if you do experience insomnia, I'm very sorry. Try it. It wasn't that alone that really helped me work through my insomnia, but that was a part of it. So I'm curious how that seemed for you. If it was like, that was dumb, I do that all the time, or helpful to name, or wow, that was so different. So would love to hear from you. Also, I'm teaching 2 classes this week. I'm teaching on Wednesday at 9, and then a solstice kind of workshop-y thing on Saturday, a celebration there. And those are both included for remembership people, and Depth is the Remedy people. You're welcome to come to those. And you can find more info on my website. You're welcome, Sarah. Peaches. Yes, Donna. Good. Let me know how you're doing. Stay well. Take care. Wear your mask. All the things, right? Oh my gosh. The squirrel almost dropped on me. Oh my goodness, Tara. That is hilarious. He's like, this is my morning time. What are you doing out here? Oh, you're harvesting nectarines, Ronnie. Oh, yummy. Oh, that's so fun. All right, friends. Well, I'll stay on and chat. I would love to chat with you. Or feel free to email me. And if you were in class yesterday, did you? I'd love to know if anybody had any difference in connection to the back of your body. It's so weird not being able to talk to you after class. So if you were there and the contrast from beginning to end, I would really love to hear about it. A couple of people emailed me, but I would just love to hear. So yeah, thanks, Tara. You too. Have a great, great week. Okay, friends, I'll be in the chat. Thanks for being here. Love to you.